So if we understand the human body, I'll show on Thorsten here, so you can see from the side. By the way, good choice of so from here. See, if I do this, this is like tension exercise for me. But from here, if I move hips, spine, shoulders, here, see, very simple, yeah. And you feel your mortality. So later on, you'll be nicer to other people too. And you saw that the snap, it also feels good, because sometimes it does feel good to do bad things. Yeah. But if we experience that, we are not the slaves of that feeling later on. So we need to, accept that little bit of devil inside. It's easier later on to be nicer. Go on, choke each other. This will be, I think, my 6th or 7th visit to Frankfurt, and I'm very happy to return here every time. I enjoy visiting Thorsten Dojo for the company, for the great students and spirit of learning that I get to meet here, which reminds me a lot of what I see back home in Israel. And this year, like 2019, we're going to focus on the rope and the chain. The rope and the chain is a wonderful way of reminding ourselves of our mortality, because it's a flying piece of metal that's very smooth and very painful when it meets you in a fast way. So it reminds us of our mortality, of our humanity, and takes away a lot of the tension that we try to control something. Instead, you have to become one with it, the same way that we become one with when we are actually moving with a partner, like a good dancer, instead of someone who just drags something along. My path into the martial arts began at a very young age, where I was sent into wrestling by my family, which I didn't like at all. It was very aggressive. It was very hard on the body, and you had to lose a lot in order to learn. And I chose different martial arts after that: karate, judo, aikido. I studied them for years here and there, and I was always looking for something that was less singular, meaning that it's not as much as do this and do that, or an equation in forms of I do this and then the other person does that. So you are not, let's say, in a conversation where you already know what's going to be said. I like, let's say, in music, I like martial art to be like jazz, where you're improvising and you don't know what's going to happen, because that's real excitement, because it doesn't prepare you for real life. It is real life. And through the searches, I've stumbled upon many different martial arts. All of them have taught me something, but I remain in let's say, the spectrum of the Russian martial art. It's more encompassing intuitive movement, intuitive thinking, and it doesn't stamp you in a form of movement in this way or that way. And another thing that I like about it is that, martial art, even for an active duty soldier, it's very little in the time that you spent alive, very little is actually spent performing or doing your martial art. But if you spend your time on the tiniest building blocks of the universe, our own universe, walking, sitting, moving, looking, observing, and most of all breathing, then it's applicable at any moment. Even if you're not awake, your mind is still working, and it will give you something in everything that you do. Yes. So everything that you do from here, look. Yeah? Yeah? The body moves, the shoulders move. The shoulders move, the arms move. You come to attack me, my body moves. See, everything is one. Like so. I don't want to break it a moment. Maybe on Sunday. So you come towards me, I give you whatever it is that you want. Yes? Everything that you want, you can have.
I mean, if you don't hit me, something is wrong.
Good. So here, as this comes towards you, see here? Body angle. You push, body angle. See? I'm not hitting you, it's the body movement. Back. See? Continuous. Yeah? And you keep moving. Yes? Go on.
That's fine.
Practicing martial art and serving in the armed forces, whether it's military, law enforcement, or even rescue services, is not just about the actual one-on-one or group-on-one confrontation. It gives you a lot more than that. And if we practice and learn the martial art just in terms of self-development, that's fine. But if we have in our mind higher purpose or a higher calling for it, which means not just our survival, but the continuation of our line in a way, it takes us from the place where we are focused on ourselves, and we become from, let's say, a seed, we can become more towards a forest. If we think about it in a more ecological manner, a soldier in a way is like a fighting ant in an ant farm or in an ant colony, and we become a part of a protector. So we become an integral part instead of just doing something for its own sake. And within the practice of martial art, the practice itself is less important than the commitment and what we gain from it. If we learn to breathe, then it grants us more composure. If we learn to move more smoothly, if we learn to move more as a human being and less as something possessed from the outside, we become more calm and we can affect good change without harming ourselves, and of course with creating less harm to others. So if you do practice martial arts and you are in the martial forces, although it's not being said in that way right now, it can give you a lot more than just the practice of fighting. It can give you inner peace, or in a more simple terms, it can give you control through awareness, not control through holding yourself tight and holding the pain inside. Fighting is fighting, and a wise man said again and again and again that if you get punched in the face, most of your plans go out the window. What we can do, however, with this, with the, let's say, the incoming conflict, is change our perception of it, because our minds and our bodies are great, wonderful machines that are capable of doing great things, but our paradigms, and most of all our emotions that are shaped by our paradigms, are like leashes and chains that are holding our machines, the mind and the body, from actually working to its full capacity, to finding the best solution for that particular moment. So if, let's say, you're thinking about something coming towards you with an aggressive posture, whether it is just someone that doesn't like you or someone that wants to end your bloodline, the same thing can happen. You're either answering aggression with aggression, which means in this case you are the drum and you're being hit, which means that we are being operated upon. We are not free if we are aggressive. But if we take that aggression and we understand where it comes from, we're becoming a mirror of the other side, then we can become free, and we will not become docile and silent and just like rubber bands that we are being moved from place to place, but we can actually move with a lot more of a lucid mind and a lot more of a relaxed body, because we are not tensing against someone. We're not considering something that coming towards you, something that you need to brace and stop, because you're not trying to answer or equalize the equation. Like if there's a 1 value here, you're not trying to put a 1 here, and then you are clashing, and then it's just a matter of who's bigger, stronger, faster, or just lucky at that predicament. But if you see that 1 and you're saying, okay, let's treat that as a gift, even if it is hate, even if it is murder and evil, if you treat that as a gift, you treat it as something that you can manipulate and move, instead of letting it come inside you. Because if you're pushing against something, you're becoming a structure that is made of 2 points, and both of them are just trying to break the entire structure. So if you release the need to even out the other side, it affects us a lot less, and life becomes a lot clearer, because it's not about your side and their side, and there is not just a binary system of right and wrong. You can become a human being, and you can see the other person as a human being, And as a slight aside from that, if you see the other person as a human being, they're a lot less scary. And you can win by not fighting from time to time. Now here, after you twist, here, you twisted it, now you want the next one, go to here, look.
Oh, okay.
See, you constrict his movement even more. Huh? And now from here, let him find the solution. Don't push on it. Good. Now here, don't push. Where are you free? Where is your movement free? Which parts of your body are free? Good, good, good. Now here, yes, there. See?
Okay,
now,
you helped me a lot, but...
a little bit, like from here. If you go to here and you also have a hand, see this? It's not fun. But from here, again, if I push against you, if I try to do something, yes, I get in a bad situation. But from here, if I relax, what's free? Yes, my hips, my legs. Look.
Okay.
See, that's already there.
Swift.
See, that's very simple. And it's not about solving the solution, it's like finding what's good inside that solution, you know? You take something that's like psychologically not comfortable, or should be psychologically uncomfortable, like a noose around your neck, and you see what you can do good inside that situation. And then you take away the demons from yourself. As you are afraid, but you know why you are afraid. And you know that you can actually do something through that. So it changes you, hopefully, not just the rope. The rope is just a tool. In the series of books Tarzan, there is one thing that, as I read as a child, really influenced me. Tarzan says, obviously in the book, that he's not afraid of the lion because he can hear it. He's not afraid of the elephant because he can feel it moving. What he is afraid of is the poisonous beetle, because he cannot hear it, he cannot see it, and once you step on it, you're through. It's a very vital lesson in life for everything, because it's not about martial arts, it's about being and living a good life, and not promoting this or that value, but being a full human being. So if we are aware of what's coming towards us, and we can judge it, because we cannot not judge everything, but what we can do is let go of that judgment, or become aware of that judgment. Let's say, this guy bad, this animal bad, or whatever, or you can call it unclean, or negative, whatever. Every tag that you put on something blinds you, because you see the tag, you don't see what's behind it. If you see a fist coming your way, you're focusing on moving or stopping the fist, or moving out of the way. But if I'm moving out of the way, I'm being controlled, and my body is not working with me, it's working with the other side. If I see the elbow behind the fist, if I see the shoulder behind the fist, and most of all, if I see the intention behind it, then I can work with the intention, and I can take away the sting without killing the bee, so to speak. I can take away, sometimes I can take away the need to hurt someone else, and through that I can actually see all of them, and I can learn something from it. The other side can also. And if there is a possibility for an interaction, whether it is by contact, by force, by something else, then both sides can get more of a natural coexistence from it. Because if you look at nature, there is no society where there is only predators and prey. The circle of life, if we go to the Disney version, is very simplified, but again, a predator and prey cannot exist without each other. So if we look at things, even bad things, disease, famine, everything like that, something that can also elevate. They're not good necessarily, but they can also elevate us, help us strive for new solutions, become better, or to find new things to do. Then we open ourselves to that, and we shift the paradigm for I need to fix it to okay, how is this helping me? And even if it's not a good thing, you can make it into something that is more positive in your life and in someone else's. Yeah, so here, put the neck on me from the back. Be comfortable with it. So here, like on the neck and on the arms and so on. So no, on the back here. See? Now from here, see? Now here, what you're doing is like, if I fight you, I constrict myself, yes? So from here, look, I release into you, yeah? Now this is very different, see? Because now you might still have the rope, but we are more interconnected, see? And in this position, I'm more free. So if you try sort of like to answer the question that the rope gives you, you're just answering, you're responding, you're late.
Exactly.
But if you see what's good for you in that situation, you're never in a delay.
We kind of forgot to work with the other person also.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
Because this is sort of like a scary medium. And it should be, rope around your neck should not be a good idea.
Good sign.
For most people.
In general. Thank you.
Yeah. One of the main players in all martial arts is our own ego. We try to make ourselves better, and so we can show more and move in a better way, and also become more important in the social scale. But if we also pay attention to our own egos when we do that, we can find and see a lot better why we do things like we do. Why do we practice, let's say, punching and getting punched? Is it for what cause? If we do it for self-preservation, for getting to know ourselves, that could be a good thing. But if you're doing it to show how good you are, or to hold the pain within and to try to show how tough you are, then you're actually harming yourself on the inside. And when you're getting punched, you're also conditioning yourself to get hit, to invite the pain inward. And if you avoid that path and you just move with whatever comes your way, then you're less likely to get stabbed once. And also, you are not trying to, let's say, you're not trying to hold on and control the situation, but just become a part of it. And then again, that gives you a lot more freedom not to try to be in charge, because we're not, just be a part of the music. Fear is one of the main keys in learning martial art. When we try to control ourselves, we're sort of like trying to take that fear and put it into a box so we can contain it and we can continue to do what we think we need to do. But fear exists in us, fear exists in all, let's say, higher animals, let's say above, let's say, one-cell animals. And fear is not a bad thing. Fear is just another tool that nature and evolution created in us, so we can learn not to touch fire, we can learn to avoid bad things, and we can learn to evolve, because it's also a motivator. So if we take away the negative aspect that we place on fear socially, but don't be scared, don't be a pussy, and so on, if we take that away and we allow ourselves to be afraid, we can start to gain something from that fear, and we can respect that fear, and it can become a good thing in our lives, because fear motivates us to become better people. Fear can motivate us to become better members of society, and fear definitely tells us to avoid things that are bad for us. So take away the demonization of fear and just allow yourself to play with the situation instead of always trying to control it, to defeat it. And then again, we go back to the beginning where you're born free and you learn to fear, but if you learn to accept fear, then you are free, and with that added tool of fear to help you and guide you on your way. We are born with fear. If we let ourselves be afraid instead of trying to lie to ourselves, then it's a lot easier for us to accept that. And when we accept that, then we can avoid being controlled by the fear. And then we are free and get in even more energetic and motivated to do the good thing. If we ignore that we are afraid, then the fear controls us from the back of our minds. Then we're never free. Then we're always being controlled by our demons, even if the demons are long dead. Everyone who's been in a war is not necessarily an atheist, and we have a lot of things in our life that we can't really explain, or we just don't know. So negating something just because we don't know exactly what it is, it's not necessarily the best thing to do. Maybe there are things that we don't know, and maybe there are things that are a part of us that we're not even aware of. And again, if we open our eyes to just see what's ahead of us and around us, and open our ears and open our senses, and most of all open our hearts, then we can sense and feel a lot more. And in many cases that can take us away from a position of fighting and put us into a position where we are, through awareness, we are free to do what's needed. A lot of fights can be avoided simply by paying attention to the oncoming of the storm. A change in someone's face, even a shift in smell, because we secrete pheromones into everywhere where we are. And becoming aware of that can unleash powers in us that may look magical, but they are usually just a very simple measure of paying attention to more than what we are conditioned to, more than the linear life. Punching and striking and putting people down to the ground is one of the most popular things that you see in martial arts, in mixed martial arts and so on, what you see on TV and film. But if you think about the actual practice of martial art, it's the practice of day to day. It's the practice of going down to the ground and picking up an onion or something else that you grew up, and doing so in a form that keeps your back straight, in a form that keeps you in a status where you can continue to do so for years and years and not injure yourself. So this practice of being healthy, of learning how to move properly, goes well beyond the actual conflict of person against person, or even military against military, and it gives you the possibility to live and move properly. And that is true triumph. If I can grow my food, if I can find water, if I can raise my children, that's triumph. Sure, you also need to defend yourself and defend your family and your assets, but that's just a part of it. If you look at ecology, then you can see that if you are very strong in one part of it, then you're also very weak at another. And if you learn to become a more whole person, you can grow yourself from the inside, feed yourself good food, learn to rest when you need to, and pay attention most of all, then you are a lot less vulnerable to anything, because you can be the toughest, fastest guy in the world. If you've got diarrhea, you're a lot less of what you were yesterday. So learning to take care of all your needs and all of someone else's needs, that is a true measure of, let's say, a martial living, where you are able to take care of the entire system and feed it instead of just taking away from it, if you are coming from the position of fear or you're coming from a position of life. You see that your body movement is there to stop something away from you, yeah? So psychologically you show the fear, like if something happens to me and you go like this, you show your fear. And when you show your fear, you defend yourself with yourself. So you're going to injure yourself anyway. You know, like if there's a car crash and you do this, you break your hands and then you break your nose, yeah? Instead of just moving to the sides and then just breaking your nose. So from here, when you're being touched like this, should be like, okay, I see, what do I want to do? Yeah, what do I want to do? Not necessarily an act of defense. If you defend yourself all the time, it could be some grandma tapping on your back in the supermarket. You've dropped your keys or something, and you smack her in the face. Less fortunate. If you're here and there's something there, it's like, okay, hi, how are you, my friend? Doesn't have to be a situation of defense all the time. If you condition yourself that everything that comes towards you is negative, then you only see the negative, because that's the way the brain works. It's a mechanism that works for your goals. So you broaden the goals, and then you can see the good and the bad. And you can use the good against the bad. You see you're in a hardware store, someone attacks you, but you also see the hammer. So you lift the hammer and, the guy wants to hurt you a little bit less. Yeah? Or a rope. Okay. Yeah. A very funny thing is when you see like a holy person or someone who's considered to be a great teacher or a sage get annoyed from something very simple like a bug or a bus or something coming out of turn. Being a martial artist, it goes way beyond the ability to fight. It goes in the ability to be free in yourself, meaning that if we take not just the time on the tatami, the time on the mat, or whatever, wherever it is you're practicing, and you practice your martial art at every moment that you are conscious, then you are practicing all the time. If you are learning to walk softly all the time, if you're teaching yourself to pay attention to your breathing, so a lot less people can get under your skin because you're paying attention to yourself more, and you're a lot less able to be swayed by others. That's freedom, and that's triumph, true triumph, because you're winning the fight before it even begins. And practicing that aspect of martial arts, of paying attention and acceptance of what's coming your way, that gives you a great ability in daily life to avoid the pitfalls of being consumed by anger and fear, and letting whatever's coming your way be a tool for yourself instead of it controlling you, it leading you, and then you're just another dog on a leash. It's much better to be not led, but to lead yourself inside. When I teach, I have to teach my way. Otherwise, it will not be my Systema or actual martial art. It has to come from the self. When I come to class, my thoughts are always, what do the students need at that particular moment? Because otherwise, I'm not being of service to them. I'm just trying to instill in them something that's important to me. And I'm less important in that interaction. What's important is that they are getting what they need at that particular time. So for that, I need to pay attention to them, and to pay attention to the way that I perceive things. Because if I try and make a particular path, I'm trying to force nature, to force a human being into this way or that way. But instead, I need to accept what's happening around me, pay attention to it, and be aware of the filter that my mind, my psyche, my history enforces on that. And when I'm aware of that, I'm more or less free from trying to teach and allowing myself to actually be there and to interact and to move with them, instead of trying to see everything as a nail because I have a hammer. Once you let go of that, then your martial practice can become a lot more diverse, and you can learn to use anything as something that's helpful to you instead of a disturbance. Let's say I'm teaching outside, there are children playing, great, let's use that. There's rain, great, we'll use that. There's mud, oh no, but we will use that. So if everything can be made into a part of what you're doing, then you're not apart from wherever you are. So when we take away that divide, we become what truly is meant in martial art. Not something that is unnatural, or something that is made, something that is, instead of something that you do, it becomes something that you are. And then it doesn't involve any extra tension, it doesn't involve any extra effort, because you're not trying to be something, you're not trying to be tough, you're not trying to be strong, you're just being who you are. And then you are free, and then you are truly effective as who you are. Perhaps one of the things that I tell my students, that I have no idea what's going to happen in class, because I'm just one part of it. I'm not there to tell them what to do. I'm there to see what is the best way to feed the soil, to let them grow the way that they need to grow, not the way that I want someone to grow. Let's say if I take a family, if I take my son, great if he evolves in a particular way that I like, but if I try to force him that way, it will not be a good thing. I will try to coerce. That's not the way of good life, when you're trying to force your way on something else. But if you are able to be there for someone, then they can grow to their full potential. And if you have instead of pride in your heart. If you have love in your heart, then that will make you happy. That will make them happy too, and your fulfillment will be much greater in life.